Okay. Well, are we broadcasting?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've lost all direction, and so Boyd, do you know something about the maritime law in courtrooms? Let's bring his microphone up so we can get a direction here.
Here's what I know. I know nothing, Nick. No, I don't know nothing. There's a lot of vestiges of the British system in our courts. Unfortunately, our court system is inherently screwed up, and there's really no. I don't think any heritage shines through at all anymore. I think our court system is so discombobulated. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you want from your court system, Nick?
Well, I want some checks and balances. That's what I'd like to have. Again, like I said, my whole thing is you've got Obama up there saying that the gridlock system is the problem. He can't get around Congress. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is the gridlock system is supposed to exist to keep him from getting around Congress. I mean, that's the whole idea.
Yeah,
that is the whole idea. Yeah.
Here we go. I've got it pulled up out of Reality Bites now. It's does the Jones Act put the U.S. put us under maritime admiralty law by our birth certificate? Why is your name spelled in capitals? It goes on to say there are two different kinds of law on the planet. The first is known as common law, which is the law of the land. The other is maritime admiralty, which is known as the law of the water. It can also be referred to as banking law. Which, again, what do we talk about all the time? The bankers, the globalist bankers. Maritime admiralty law considers you a maritime admiralty product simply because you were birthed out of your mother's water. That's why they talk about water breaking and things. A ship sits in its berth until the captain gives it a certificate of manifest to port authorities. The reason you're required to have a birth certificate is because at the time of your birth, there's an exchange of money to cover hospital costs. The dock signs your birth certificate simply because that is what the ship is tied to. You need a dock to sign your birth certificate. And again, we already talked about how your birth certificate's traded by bankers on the stock market. You have the number on there that you're put into a giant hedge fund with, and you're traded.
Well, your Social Security number.
Not even that. You have another number on your birth certificate. There's a hedge fund. That red number at the bottom of your birth certificate, you're linked with a lot of other people, and you're traded as a bond on the bond market. It still does not make sense. More clarification, please. Let's go over this again. When you came down your mother's birth canal, you came out of her water, making you a maritime admiralty product. That is right. You became a product of commerce at the time of your birth. Your mother also needs to sign your birth certificate. If you notice your birth certificate where your mother signs, she is not listed as a parent, nor is she listed the mother. Where your mother signs the birth certificate, she is known as an informant. And then it gets into your body is owned by the banks. If you look at your Social Security card, you'll see the numbers in red on the back of the card. On the front of the card will be printed either blue or black, but the numbers on the back will be in red. That's your bond numbers. These numbers which appear in red on the back of your Social Security card represent your body. Your body is bought and sold on stock markets. The numbers in red on the back of the card is the serial number of your stock. Poor people are considered common stock, and wealthy are known as preferred stock.
Well, yeah, I mean, the government is using us as assets, and here's the point. I mean, your debt equals your slavery. I mean, you're a slave to this economical system. There's no doubt about it. To get extremely esoteric with this whole thing, you're a slave to the entire system. You're born into slavery. I mean, this is the most complex system of slavery ever created on the face of the planet here, because it's hidden with derivative money and stock markets and things that you think you can trade with dollars and cents, and none of it means anything. Yeah. It's not backed up by the gold standard.
Understand something very clearly.
Yeah, this is a Jordan Maxwell video we got explaining it.
When someone asks you in this country, are you a citizen of the United States? What you think that they are asking you is, are you lawfully in this country? Are you lawfully here to do business and be here? That's not what they ask you.
So it puts the amnesty into a new perspective on why we have to get so many people. It's not for the tax revenue. It's so we can trade them again on the stock market.
It's so that the interest payments on the dollars traded for bonds with the Federal Reserve continues to exist. That's what I was going over with the revenue. The money revenue right now is at an all-time high, and we're still running a $580 billion deficit. They need more people. They can't cover the interest payments anymore to the Federal Reserve.
Because
that's why our monetary system is screwed.
Yeah, because we're not citizens. We're
Anyone
bonds.
That's right.
Incorporate a privately owned company, and a group of men did. They incorporated a company, privately owned, and they called the company the United States Company Corporation. And according to corporate law, and anyone who has a corporation or a business knows that according to corporate law, all corporations must have a president. That's the law. And it must have a vice president. And it must have a secretary of treasurer. That's corporate law. So the corporation had to have a president and a vice president. Today, when you see once a year at the State of the Union, when you see the president come out and the Speaker of the House says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States." Everybody in this country thinks he's the President of America. America doesn't have a president. This is a corporate term used in business. The United States Corporation is a...
But yeah, great Jordan Maxwell video that'll break down the Maritime Admiralty Law. And like I said, I saw some Freeman Fly stuff, too, about it. I'm really talking about the reasons for the bar. And that I got to look up the term. It's a British something. I know that's where the B comes from in it.
Well, the country's been turned into a corporation. Yeah. I mean, that's why. I mean, again, that's why we always say things like Obama is run by the stock markets. Obama is run by the hedge funds and the global lobbyists and so on. That's what that means. I mean, we are a corporation now being traded with other countries, and it's very scary, especially when they continue to screw with global policy and geopolicy based off of emotional ties and getting us involved in wars to extend civil wars and on and on and on and on. Something else that's happened this week, though, to really highlight how money really is the root of all evil when it comes to geopolicy. Get grandma on board. Young Scots push independence out of Yahoo. This week we see major geopolitical news coming out with Scotland possibly voting now for their own independence from the EU, from the United Kingdom. This is a huge deal. And the Queen of England has been putting up a huge fit over the whole thing. I saw the sympathy articles coming out first thing this week with "Don't make me the last Queen of Scotland." Oh, my God. How sad it would be if Miss, Lizard Queen over there can no longer rule over the Scots, and how terrible that would be. But they are putting on sanctions as if it's us against Russia here over this vote for independence. The Telegraph is reporting big business warned of day of reckoning if Scots vote yes. Can you believe this? Jim Sillars, Alex Salmon's former mentor, says the nationalists will have their revenge by nationalizing BP, breaking up the banks, and boycotting John Lewis. Alex Salmon's former mentor today promised a day of reckoning for big business if Scots vote for independence, including the nationalization of BP. He shared a campaign platform with the First Minister 2 days ago, accused large companies who have spoken out against separation this week of attempting to subvert the referendum through lies and distortions. He said they were, quote, in cahoots with the rich Tory Prime Minister, and warned nationalists would have their revenge if there is a yes vote next Thursday. The tirade by Mr. Sillars, who's a former S&P deputy leader, came as a YouGov opinion poll showed the unionist campaign has regained the lead by a margin of 52% up to 48% after a 3-point swing. Senior nationalists are accusing Downing Street of a dirty tricks campaign. This is crazy. I mean, let me ask you this. What's it going to look like if Scotland separates themselves from the United Kingdom?
Well, according to Danny Alexander, it would be a nightmare for 5 million Scots. That's coming out of the Telegraph, which I'm trying to find why it would be a nightmare, because it gets into talking about his breakfast routine and waking up with Peppa Pig and Kate Morag on television. So I'm trying to see. This article's talking about his house, his political life. I'm still kind of confused as to why it would be. There's a family silver coin that was close to his maternal grandmother. That's really important to Scottish independence.
I mean, listen, the euro's in trouble. The euro is in the same trouble that the dollar is in. It's just not as far down the path as the dollar has gone.
I would argue it's even further down the path because you see the problems in Greece. You see the problems in Spain. You see the problems in Italy. Of these countries that haven't given or have given all of their resources to Germany, to France, to Great Britain. They're in worse shape. I mean, if they don't get the Ukraine, the EU as we know it is going down.
Well, that's my
point. If they don't get
the
breadbasket that is the Ukraine, they will starve.
But
we'll
overall,
see bread lines in Europe again.
It's the same system, though, that we're working off of. It's the original system.
Yeah, that's because the Rothschilds set up the Federal Reserve.
So
they played with the Rockefellers and then set up the reserve through Jekyll Island.
Right. So their problems mirror ours.
Of course, because it's two parts of the same coin.
And it's right, and it's only going to get worse. Mm-hmm. Again, we talked about how China is starting to prepare themselves and try to cushion themselves against the bond market.
Did you see, though, that China's had 40,000 new millionaires this year alone?
That's right. China trying to shield themselves from the imminent stock or bond market failure, which is going to happen. I mean, let's just get one thing clear. All right, I am systematically bringing myself out of the U.S. dollar. Okay? I recommend that everyone do the same thing. Because let me put it to you this way. There will be a crash of the U.S. stock market like we've never seen before. And I love listening to Charles Lindbergh talking about how setting in the Federal Reserve System is only setting up a system of scientifically being able to crash the market and then rebuild the market, profiting only the 1%. I mean, that's what they're doing. Look at Mark Zuckerberg pumping and dumping his way to absolute domination over the stock market with Facebook, of all companies. What does Facebook even do? They don't do anything. And it could even be argued that the users are the ones providing and building the content there, and the users should be the one profiting. But yet Facebook has pumped and dumped its way to total domination over the stock market. And that's what all of these globalists are doing. George Soros is doing it in a more sophisticated way with multiple companies pumping and dumping, quote unquote, putting on bets that the market will crash. Breitbart reporting, next week Scotland will vote no to independence. Here are 10 reasons why I wish it would vote yes. And the writer is James Dellingpole. Just a couple of his reasons here. I think they're good. Number one, David Cameron will lose his job as Prime Minister. Number two, Ed Miliband will also lose his job as Labour Party leader. The Conservatives are barely a presence in Scotland, which is why many of the electioneering for the No campaign has been carried out very badly by Labour. Number three, Scotland's economy is the bastard love child of a Ponzi scheme in Venezuela under Hugo Chavez. Till now, the Scots have been cushioned from this by dint of the fact that their socialist economy and the vast welfare zone, otherwise known as Glasgow, has been propped up by English taxpayers. It's about time we stopped treating the Scots like children and told them the truth. Father Christmas doesn't exist. That's like what we have to do with the banking industry. Number four, Scott's First Minister Alex Salmond has vowed that by 2020, 100% of Scotland's electricity will be renewable. It will be good to see him test this plan to destruction, especially on those many days when the wind isn't blowing. Number five, it's over anyway. Better a clean break now than any more of this humiliation and groveling. In the last few days, we've seen the Westminster class led by an unusually abject Cameron doing the equivalent of a desperate husband promising his wife the earth if only she'll call off the divorce. 7, no means yes anyway. 8, most of Scotland's matchlessly beautiful landscape has been ruined by wind farms. Number 9, Alex Salmond is a serial liar. Some of the lies he has told on the election trail, such as his boasts about the vast oil and gas reserves, which will keep the Scots economy afloat, or his claim that the NHS could be privatized if Scotland votes no, deserve to explode in his face. But this will only happen if they vote yes. And finally, number 10, and I say all of this not because I think the fracturing of the Union is a good or desirable thing. It will be a disaster for Scotland and terrible loss for the rest of Britain. The people I feel particularly sorry for are all the Scots who know what a disaster it will be and who wish they weren't being dragged over the cliff by their first lemming Salmond. But Scotland's independence movement is a genie that cannot be put back in the bottle. All a vote next week will do is make the yes campaigners more embittered, more chippy, more bolshy, more determined than ever to secure Scottish independence in the future. So a yes vote is really just the least worst of all of the options. So there you go. I say down with the EU, Drew. Because
I've been saying that.
Maybe if they actually put a stop to it, we could also stifle this push for the North American Union. Don't you think?
Well, that's why they have to hurry and collapse our borders now, is because, like I said, we've seen out of Greece, we've seen out of Spain, we've seen out of Italy, we've seen out of Cyprus what the EU will do to the smaller countries. Mm-hmm. It is literally Germany, Britain, and France right now. Oh, yeah. And to the rest of the European nations, screw you guys. Mm-hmm. And now we see Germany and working with the BRICS countries and leaving the EU possibly there. China, India's rising. India is set up more for the technological takeover. Zuckerberg really, unless this is what he wants to do, unless he wants to shut down Silicon Valley and move it to India, because that's the only thing I can see, because India is going to overtake the technological sector. We already see the rises in that. Look at how many technological jobs are already outsourced to India.
Oh, yeah, there's a sitcom about it called Outsourced. I mean, this is the takeover here. Mm-hmm. Jobs have been shipped out of this country.
Maybe that's Zuckerberg's plan. Maybe, he has some redoubt in Bangladesh or something, and that's his escape plan. I don't know, but that's what they're doing with this pushing for amnesty, is it's going to boost the BRICS countries, in particular India and China. We've already seen China's had 40,000 new millionaires this year alone. But that's okay, because we can worry about Adrian Peterson beating his kid and getting kicked off the Minnesota Vikings. We can worry about Ray Rice beating his wife and getting kicked out of the NFL, because the NFL has to attract women. We need more women watching football games.
Yeah, good
That's
Lord.
the NFL's saving grace. That's their plan to go with.
That's what they're worried about.
It's on Drudge right now. It's on Drudge right now. Crisis after crisis threatens to undermine to attract female football fans. It's the Washington Post article. And how dare these women actually support Ray Rice? What are they thinking wearing Ray Rice jerseys?
Unbelievable.
It's sickening, but this is a Drew Harrell article out of the Washington Post here talking about tensions developed with a fellow fan or mother who is troubled by the NFL's handling of domestic assault case involving former Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice. Women make up an estimated 45% of the NFL's more than 150 million American fans and have become perhaps pro football's most valuable players. Female fans, a group beloved by advertisers, repeat the league's biggest opportunity for growth. Keeping these women spending has been a chief goal of the NFL. Again, it goes back to advertising. It goes back to the agendas we saw pushed from William Randolph Hearst at the turn of the century. Well, let's get it through advertising. Let's get it through Madison Avenue. Let's take over control of the family unit through our advertising ads. Here's an ad for Kraft macaroni and cheese. It tells you be a single mom and feed your kids Kraft macaroni and cheese. It'll make them happy. You don't need a father in their life. You don't need a dad. You don't need strong family units. Here, just buy more and more of our products. Maybe George Carlin was right. Maybe the real American pastime isn't baseball any longer or isn't football any longer, but it's really consumption. It's how much can we consume. And we saw in the 90s, buying off credit card debt to consume more and more and more got us into a pickle as a country. We saw that again in the 2000s. But every time we're told, oh, you just need to buy this. It'll correct the problem. Here, feeling down, go buy this shoes, go buy this video game, go buy this book, go buy this movie, go buy whatever you want to buy because it'll make you feel better. And the whole time we're doing this to keep us distracted, to keep our head in the sand, and to keep Americans running around thinking as long as they can go to Walmart and buy cheaply made lead-based Chinese crap and they can go home and turn on their NFL network and watch football, well then things must be okay. The economy must be working out. The world must be okay. Don't need to worry about ISIS. Don't need to worry about diseases coming across the border. Don't need to worry about your vaccinated kids having autism and all forms of other diseases. Don't need to worry about that because as long as you can buy your cheaply made Chinese crap and you can watch your football, Nick, you know what I say to that? Do you know what I say?
I love this song.
Everything is awesome.
That's right.
Everything is cool when we're part of the team. Everything is awesome. And we're living our dream.
Now the question is,
Signal, park between the lines.
if the Scots
Yes.
vote
Drop
yes,
off dry cleaning before noon. Read the headlines.
will that
Don't forget to smile. Always
fuel
the sports team.
Texas secession talk?
Always return.
Well, we saw California secession talk had a problem. They didn't get on the ballot initiative for the plan to split California into 6 states. Texas has a complete legitimate right to secession, as they were an independent republic before they were a part of the United States. They came in of their own free will of volition.
Yeah, that's right.
Every state did, but come on, we can't let the corporation that is America break up. I mean, after all, Romney said it. Corporations are people too.
That's right.
I think he had it confused. People are now corporations because we are all bought and sold by our owners.
Well, we absolutely have been.
Look up
there's
George
no
Carlin.
doubt about it.
I can't play his HBO special bit on here because there's some language in it, but look it up where he talks about we have owners. You're free to do what you were told.
That's right. Slave drivers.
Mm-hmm. We are all slaves now. That's the difference. Slavery is not a racial issue. We're all slaves. We're all indebted. They made the chains of bondage that we can't see. The chains are around us. Just now we call the chains iPhone, Facebook, Twitter.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like Jacob Marley dragging his chains around that he fashioned in life. We're fashioning our own chains by buying into pop culture, buying into the lie that is the official narrative from the White House and the Pentagon that it's okay to destroy. And that's the big thing with 9/11. Destroying 7 Middle Eastern countries that were not responsible for the actual attacks.
And meanwhile, Saudi Arabia gets to have giant tent dinners with Bush and continue on. But you know what? I think Bill Hicks said it best here, Nick, with this that we're playing now. Because this truly is, with all the craziness, everything going around in the world, everything you see whenever you turn on your TVs or you log onto your computers, just all this hatred, animosity, and fear that you see everywhere. Just don't let it get you down. Remember this.
I have to. The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. Has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill those good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok? But it doesn't matter because it's just a ride. And we can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now between fear and love. The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your door, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world right now to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defense each year and instead spend it feeding, clothing, and educating the poor of the world, which it would many times over, not one human being excluded, and we can explore space together, both inner and outer, forever in peace. Thank you very much.
Well, it's very true.
Yep, and we have plenty of voices of fear out there right now. Nancy Pelosi, the sky's falling if the GOP wins. ISIS is coming here to chop your head off.
Yep. But what do? I think what you do is, live your life as God would have you. In light rather than darkness, like Gene Rosen says.
Gene Rosen.
And that you're good to everyone else, and you treat others as you would want to be treated. And I think even that could be applied to our foreign policy right now. Are we treating other countries the way that we would want to be treated?
Well, of course not.
Russia is testing nuclear missiles now?
And it goes back to 60 years of military-industrial complex. We're building these bombs. We got to have somebody to bomb. Why does the world hate us? Because we've been bombing them for 60 years just to keep money going to Boeing, Bell Helicopters, GE, all these defense contractors, Halliburton, you name it.
That's exactly right.
We got to be in a constant state of war. So let's go to war with fear. Let's go to war with terror.
Let's nuke our imaginations.
Exactly. It's turning into South Park with the imagination land. And that's a beautiful example because just like imagination, fear is only an emotion.
That's right.
It's not real. It's what we perceive it to be.
Mm-hmm. That's why Spock said to learn to control fear. It's just an emotion. Okay. Well, we do have a mantra, though, to go along with all of this here at the Weekend Sit and Spin.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!
That's right. Party on, Drew.
Party on, Nick.
And I hope that you all here from the Weekend Sit and Spin have a great weekend. And we'll be back tomorrow morning for the Sunday Morning Freedom Spin block. Drew Howard Show 9 to 11, 11 to 1, the Sit and Spin radio show with myself, Nick O'Kelly. We'll see you then. Otherwise, have a great Saturday. If you're in North Charleston, get out to Casey Mulligan's tonight at 10 for Suburban Myth. And we'll be back next time. KineticHiFi.com, the Weekend Sit and Spin.